How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm going to go on to a mission, a contract called Clean Slate. I'm starting on the Crossroads map, as I've not been on this map for a little while, so I wanted to pick a mission that starts on here. And yeah, what I've got to go and do is kind of go down to the bottom left-hand corner of the Crossroads map, grab three vehicle spare parts from a warehouse down there, and then take it across to the Heartlands map and drop them off as like three different locations. So for this one, I can just kind of cut across the countryside. I've got the Paystar, so I don't actually need to go and get a trailer. And then yeah, grab the cargo, nip it over that side. Yeah, there's only three lots of cargo for this one, so I don't have to take a ramped flatbed with me, which is nice. And then they're the three locations on the Heartlands map. Pretty simple. One's pretty near the garage, and then the other two are kind of like on the way to the top of the map. And yeah, as I said, I got a Paystar for this one because I can have the 3-slot sideboard, which is pretty cool. This thing can still fit a crane on as well, and you could have a trailer. Obviously, I don't need to in this case, but yeah, as far as that goes, it's pretty nice. Sort of, it's nice as well, just to take a more direct route. I don't normally get to go this way. This field I'm driving past as well, I'm not sure if I've farmed that one yet. I'm not sure, I don't know, it might be a mission coming up at some point. Again, I've sort of avoided a lot of the farming. I still need to do that like hot potatoes mission, and then I can't remember which one it is, but like you got to do quite a lot of farming by the sounds of things. And yeah, overall, like this is a more simple contract tonight. Nothing too crazy going on. It's a pretty long drive though to go over like this map particularly. Once you're on Heartlands, it's not too bad. But yeah, like I say, good excuse to... I know I have already taken this vehicle out before on this phase, as I was flicking through all the different trucks. There's not many left that I haven't taken out by now, and there's certain vehicles that just don't really suit the contract or whatever at the minute. I might end up using them for some missions that are a little bit more simple, but stuff like the Derry 4520, I'd technically like get that one out, as I don't think I've used that so far. But yeah, just every mission I either need like a sideboard or a trailer, and some combination where yeah, it's just there's not enough add-ons really on the Derry or either Derrys. And then there's the Paystar I still need to use, like the original one. I can't remember what it's called now off the top of my head. And the Freightliner, that little M9 something or other. But that's another one with like a winch on the back that hogs a lot of room. You can see as well, climbing over that barrier there, it managed to get the front tyre over. I actually blipped the throttle as I was climbing over it, and then it kind of got stuck between the first and second axle, so I backed it up, kind of just kept it pinned, and bumped over it, but took a bit of damage on the way. And then hit a bit of an iffy bump there. So I was trying to fire out panic winches, but it didn't quite, well, there's nothing to grab onto. So I tipped over, but thankfully one of the vehicles it's still leaning just enough to where the engine would fire up. Although it wouldn't let me steer the wheels, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. Again, back when the game first came out, you could steer the wheels even if you were like completely upside down on your roof, which was just nice because it probably wouldn't make too much difference on your roof. But when you're laying on the side like this, just being able to jiggle the tyres left and right, you could kind of sometimes find a bit of grip and sort of floor it, steer into it, and get back to your wheels. But yeah, they patched that bloody ages ago, probably a good 2 years ago by now. Yeah, so switched to the Lo4f, used a winch from the Paystar to the Lo4f just to get him over back to his wheels a bit better. And yeah, I suppose this is raw unedited Lo4f rescue footage. I should have drove it a little bit further on. I was messing around the other day with the Lo4f in that last mission. I got used to like the length of the autonomous winch, whereas this one I've got an advanced winch back on it. It's my favourite, even though obviously, like for example, when I tipped over then, the Lo4f wouldn't have been able to fire up his engine, but you've usually got a pretty good chance of at least one vehicle, and like the vast majority of times the Lo4f does end up on his wheels, but just got a bit unlucky there. But we're all good. And then for this section, I kind of remembered about now. I should have just stuck it in reverse now, but see the old Lo4f creeping his way up, getting ready to give me a Lo4f boost, so I thought I'd give that a go. Yeah, around here, even though it's like just cutting across the map and there's quite a lot of like bumps and gouges in the map, it gets pretty boggy down here. And even this truck, which considering, I mean, it's got 10 axle, 10 wheels, all-wheel drive, diff locks, all the rest of it, even that still got stuck. And then now, I made a mistake because I put a winch from the loaf to that. I didn't get it out of reverse, so I was expecting to just drive forward now, and even I was thinking, oh bloody hell, this mud's pretty grippy, and then it was like, oh, god damn it, I realised I'd left it in reverse, so I kind of didn't help myself there. So I had to do a bit more messing around. Again, did a winch from like the Paystar to the loaf. Tipped over a bit, but to be fair, that probably got me like more out of the boggy mud, so it's not the end of the world. And we got the loaf out there in the end. He always finds a way. But yeah, like I said, I did make a bit of a balls up of things by leaving it in reverse. Generally, along this section, you're best off, like, if you go along the sort of tops of these little mini hills, it's not too bad. Yeah, when you go down in the little grooves between them, it absolutely nails you. But I've got the Paystar, tipped back to its wheels, and then now good old loaf doing loaf things. Right, digs a little loaf hole, just starts to pull it back, but he fights his way. He's staying in. That's what she said. And then we're out of there. Which, I mean, goes to show, you get yourself a loaf, because a Paystar really couldn't really claw itself out of there under its own steam, but when you got a loaf as like a mobile winch point, although I didn't even switch back to the Paystar and use it as a mobile winch point, I just stayed in the loaf, did it that way. Still, I do quite like just freestyling, kind of cutting across the map. The roads are nice every now and then, but yeah. And again, I still like it how they balance it, like even that section I just got stuck in a minute ago. It's still nicer and feels more natural than, yeah, just having like a flat swampy area that they dial it up to like super mud or death mud or whatever. At least there's a bit of challenge to those hills and everything. And then if you just try and cut through the little valley bits at the bottom, then it does absolutely nail you with death mud and all the rest of it, but at least there's an option around it. I suppose in real life, if anything, the water is going to kind of settle in the low parts and keep that a bit boggier. I can't remember if, I don't think there is, because it was telling me to go down to this warehouse in the bottom corner, but I was just thinking, is there anywhere else with vehicle spare parts? So I've unlocked quite a few different warehouses and that over the last week or two. Like, I keep going through the contracts, and now I've done a few more contracts and unlocked more contracts. There was a little while where it kind of was a bit of a bottleneck, and it sort of forced. There was only like a handful of contracts I was able to do, even though I had like 30 odd left. Yeah, now though, and like I say, the last week or two, I've been chipping away at the ones where, as a reward for finishing the contract, you get unlock various warehouses. Maybe that one I unlocked on at the airport on Harvest Corp. I can't remember what that had available in it. I remember medium planks. Might have been service spare parts and vehicle spare parts. Either way though, I think obviously setting off from the Crossroads map was quicker, plus the other day I did the mission, or I suppose yesterday when I edited it and everything, I set off from the Heartlands map to the Institute map and then to the Harvest Corp map, so yeah, today I just thought, well, there's a bit of a change, all the maps look fairly similar, but yeah, start on the Crossroads map. Just now I was trying to get out the ditch there. I could have just gone to the left of that telegraph pole lamppost thing, but no, I had to risk it and it went wrong. So once again, send in the loaf. Which, I mean, even little things like this, if I just had that Paystar on its own, I've tipped now, unless there was like some other vehicle nearby that I'd abandon, then yeah. This is another reason why I take the loaf with me, because even as far as getting footage goes, like now that's happened, I'd sort of have to save the footage and either go and bring a different vehicle from the garage just to tip this over, or may as well just hit recover and kind of start the video again. Whereas yeah, a little loaf, digs his little loaf hole, but you see, as soon as he's done, he can just reverse straight out of there. He grips into the train when he needs to. And yeah, as simple as that. That's what was it, like 30 seconds, less than a minute anyway, I'd say, to rescue myself, which, considering I'm now in the bottom corner of the map, like I said, to recover to the Crossroads garage. And yeah, eat into the time, but I'm already 10 minutes into the video. I know it'd be a bit quicker if I avoided, like, those boggy sections where I got stuck. And now I was just doing a loop in the warehouse, but then I kind of remembered and realised as I was going past here that that's like a little repair square thing going on. So it's just a chance to fix all the stuff on the Paystar. And yeah, just from pure laziness, doing like a bit of zombie winch going on instead of just switching to the Royal and reversing it out the way. All I had to do was touch the box. That's what she said. And then that's it, I'm all fixed up. I didn't need to with a loaf. He's goddamn professional, he knows what he's doing. And then yeah, from this warehouse, 3 vehicle spare parts. Always have to check. There was a while ago I took the wrong spare part. It was like I needed service spare parts, and I think I took the vehicle ones or whatever. So got to double check that now. Oh, I did it not too long ago in a live stream as well. It was the metal rolls. I think I was supposed to take rolls and I took beams. And overall, after driving this Paystar, it is kind of like the twin steer. Overall, I'd probably say I might even possibly prefer it to the twin steer. It's taking random bits of damage there, but even the loaf did, and that rarely does, especially when just being towed behind. So on like a flat sort of field like that anyway, so it might just be a bit of a trollish spot. But yeah, I mean, this truck, it's got one extra axle than the twin steer, which, as far as grip goes, should help a little bit. The tyres are about 50 inches, which is definitely decent for like trucks. It's obviously not going to compete with a twin star in that sense. I think that's the 64-inch tyres. They're pretty massive on that one. I think they're like the biggest tyres you can get on a truck that's still got the high range gearbox and all the rest of it. And yeah, this thing does eat fuel a bit, but I don't think it's quite as tippy. Like when I tipped back there just before I got to the warehouse, I was kind of leaning quite heavily on a bank, whereas the normal twin steer is quite prone to tipping, especially when you've got the bigger tyres and raised suspension and all the rest of it, which ends up making you sort of, I don't know, you drive it like you're tiptoeing on eggshells with it. You sort of don't want to give it the full power just in case it does roll. But yeah, this thing is not bad. It's relatively stable. Obviously, a nice thing is you can have more add-ons, so you've got like the sideboard, you can have cranes, fuel, the little crane, the big crane. Pretty sure you can have like the logging stuff as well. Yeah, I think you can, and the logging crane will also fit on, even when it might even be the medium logs as well, but I think it can do the long logs. Yeah, it's just overall, it's kind of like a twin steer, but with loads more, yeah, add-ons and sort of setup options. The only thing I'd say with it really, as you can sort of see in the bottom left, it's 280 litre fuel tank, which is not too bad. It's not the smallest, but this thing does eat fuel. It's probably one of the biggest fuel nailers in the game, really. Even the what's it called, the Navistar. That's a pretty heavy drinker on the fuel, but yeah, this might be close competition. So it does nail that pretty quickly, but yet again, another reason just to bring a goddamn horse with you. He's got some spare. Some pretty hefty hills going on around here. Even I was quite surprised it didn't beach that much either, considering like, well, at least there is 3 axles at the rear, so I suppose it stops the gap being too bad. But you can, like, there's a good example, climbing across that rail track. So it didn't even scrape there. Just trying to drop my hammer at this point and get as much distance as I can before my fuel runs out. So I've just seen on the weather a minute ago, it's saying it might snow again in England. Not sure if it will or not. It's been pissing down with rain for the last week odd, which I don't mind rain, I still quite like it, but yeah, snow would be interesting. If we get it, a little blast of it, it'd be pretty cool. And it's all been going on in England. That, what's it, the Virgin Atlantic or whatever it is, rocket launch thing, apparently that went wrong because of some anomaly. Who knows what that means. No, damn, that probably means it went well. Just sent a load of secret spy satellites into space, and then now they're like, yep, it crashed. We have no idea what happened to it. Because it said they can't find it now or something, and it's like, really? Telling me in this day and age you were launching satellites, and the rocket that it was on, well, you didn't even have a GPS unit on it. Although, funnily enough, I remember reading this a little while ago. With GPS units, like if you go and buy a sat-nav for your car, all sat-navs are kind of programmed, so if they go over, I can't remember what the speed is, but say it's like if they go over 700 miles an hour, they automatically shut off, because sat-nav was originally built for the military, and just in case anyone tried to do some kind of like homemade ballistic missile or cruise missile or whatever, yeah, they like the sat-navs are designed to turn off if it thinks it's on a missile. Just about with the fuel, almost got to the road, as you can see though, the goddamn professional, did a bit of zombie winch action. He had enough oomph to push my Paystar to the road, not that I really needed to, it was just a matter of principle at that point. Yeah, fix the suspension, I didn't really need to, but fix the fuel tank. And Lo4f keeps 10 repair points for himself, so he's not greedy. Just enough to keep him going. And then, yeah, refuel it as well. Although where I'm headed now as I'm going to the Heartlands map, I already knew there was a fuel station along the way. I was not too far off, to be honest. I did a little edit there. I was hesitant, like I put 60 litres in the Paystar, and then I just sat there for 10 seconds like, shall I put the rest in or not? Yeah, that's what she said. And I did in the end. I was like, sod it, when I get to the fuel station, I'll refill them both. Treat myself. I think it's mission as well, so it's something about like averting a ecological disaster. I don't really know how grabbing some vehicle spare parts from a warehouse really avoids that, but I'm probably using 400 or 500 litres of fuel in the process. Definitely noticed in the last couple of weeks I've been taking like more hits, I would say, just driving along roads and like even perfectly flat fields, like the random damage. I don't know if they've tweaked it again even more, but I've noticed it on a few videos like editing recently. You just get random hits that shouldn't really happen. Anyway, both all juice back up. It does that every now and then. I don't know why. It did the stalling thing, but I was in auto. That's how terrible the gearboxes are these days. It is a shame how badly they've ruined them. I mean, high gear is still the saving grace, but yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Well, my assumption is that they've just done it to slow the game down a bit more, but I was looking around, it's like nice nature place, then you've got nodding donkey oil pump things going on, big giant fans, shed, telegraph poles, lamp posts, bus stops, big radio tower in the background. It's like, yes. Good old nature. Seen as well in the news earlier, it was saying they found some like uranium on a plane. I think it was like a passenger plane, I think, from Pakistan. And yeah, had they're saying scrap metal. I don't know. They're always a bit sketchy about the information they release. But yeah, they detected it as it was leaving the airport or something. Which the funny thing is, it's like, why on earth would you send it on an aeroplane? Just go to France, stick it on a dinghy, row it over here. Government will stick that piece of uranium in a 4-star hotel. I'll have complimentary snacks and everything. Yeah, now I'm on the Heartlands map, kind of that first drop off, just kind of cutting through the trees on that one, so I don't have to do a U-turn. This one, I'm going to have to do a U-turn. I was hoping to squeeze through that gap. That's what she said. Yeah, on the way, and then kind of where the trailer store is at the top of the map is the third place to drop it off, and it's done. Like I said, overall it's a pretty simple mission. Still almost half an hour video. Kind of, there's a few little crashes I had here and there, but nothing too bad. It was just, I suppose, quite a long drive in the end. Definitely not as much of a pain in the arse as that mission I edited yesterday. I keep getting it mixed up. Normally I get the footage the same night I edit it. It throws me off whenever I had to be a 2-dayer for that one. That took bloody ages. Which I don't mind in and of itself, missions taking ages. I think the more annoying thing was that I spent probably the majority of the mission trying to flip a vehicle that was just not wanting to be flipped, because it was not even the step pike's fault really, it was more the crane on the back. It's always been terrible, even way before the step pike existed. Those big cranes, yeah, the legs just dig into the ground too much and get stuck too easily. But yeah, I spent the majority of my time trying to flip that bloody vehicle and getting stuck on tree stumps. The actual mission itself probably wouldn't have been that bad. Funnily enough there, I think my truck actually got over a tree stump that I didn't see, because again these new tree stumps are like sneaky tree stumps, and funnily enough I think the Lo4f got caught on it, only for a second. He still bumped his way over it then, but normally he flies straight over them and the trucks get stuck. But it's a nice thing to know, even little things like that, if this can go straight over a tree stump. Like I said, the dolphin is a good example that happened to me in the last video. Just the way the tree stumps always go past the first axle and then get stuck on the second, and then it bounces between the first and second, and yeah, not good. I wonder how many hours alone. I still wonder how many hours I've got into this game in total. It'd be even better if you could have it broken up into like the different things you're doing. Like, I wonder how many hours I've spent scrolling down on the D-pad through tyre menus, particularly. They're probably usually the biggest menu. I don't know. Yeah, how many hours I've spent getting stuck and trying to get unstuck from a bloody tree stump. All sort of stuff. I wonder how many hours I've spent zombie winching. Quite a few, I should imagine. Lo4f's having a good old time. See, I know what he's up to. He's trying to flick his way. It's like ball in a cup, but it's Lo4f in a truck, trying to get his way into that sideboard. Couldn't even handle it in high gear. Couldn't stay in high gear then. It's one nice thing that I will say while I remember with the Paystar. It is an American vehicle. Speaking of which, I wish they would just patch this out by now. I decided earlier I wanted to use the Paystar. Had none in my garage, which I don't normally look, but what I do now is I go to the truck store, scroll through all the different trucks and just decide what truck I'm going to use by going through the truck store, and then I can at least see on there what category it is, if it's like heavy, off-road, highway, etc. And then I can kind of scroll through that in my garage, and it just makes finding them a bit easier. But I didn't have one, and yeah, went to go and buy one. Like, you can't do it in this region, so I had to load up Burning Mill, or Burning Hill, whatever the hell it's called, just to go and buy one. Yeah, I wish they'd just scrap that idea now. It was, yeah, I get it. For the first week or so of the game, it's like, oh yeah, haha, I've got to go back to this region to go and get that truck, but by now it's just a pain in the arse, especially how long loading times take these days to load up a different map. But yeah, the Paystar is an American vehicle, but it can actually have mud tyres, which is one of the few. Yeah, drop the second piece of cargo off. Like I say, I knew what the Lo4f was planning, so I lifted it onto the crane. I only edited it out a bit. The crane, to be fair, it was enough to lift the Lo4f, but it does look like as soon as you kind of get it high enough to put into the sideboard, the crane just starts trying to auto-extend, and then the rotation of the car goes terrible, so I'll just edit that bit out. This here, that's me. I took that corner pretty terribly. Managed to smash my truck up pretty good though. Blew 2 tyres. Took quite a lot of damage on like the suspension, I assume, and all that as well. But again, goddamn horse, he's got spare tyres on him, and we're good to go. So even that, like with the Paystar, when you put it up into high gear, it has like a nice whoosh of power when it gets up to speed in high gear, which again, it's sort of like a mini twin steer really. It's a little bit like what the P512 is to the P16. It's just like a sort of slightly smaller, more simplified version, but it also is more free with the add-ons. Like that can have normal stuff like cranes on the back and everything. And yeah, I suppose this is the same kind of thing really. And yeah, being one of the few American trucks that also, like, both of them have mud tyres, or if you put the chained on, you get the mud version of the chained. I think now is probably the only time where this vehicle beached for me tonight, really, to the point where I couldn't actually keep driving. But to be fair, I've been over this river section quite a few times, and there's a fair few trucks that do beach there, so it's not the end of the world. Didn't really get stuck for too long, and we're good to go. Got back into high gear pretty quickly, to be fair. And then now, as I'm climbing back out, I was using the low range of the diffs on to climb back out, but if you look at the back of the sideboard, does this normally happen, or, like, see all the water pouring out of it after I've kind of, yeah, just climbed out the water? I thought it was a pretty cool little detail, I suppose, that doesn't really need to be done. Maybe it does do it on other vehicles, I'm not sure, but I don't ever remember seeing it before. And then it does it again now, like the sideboard just gets low enough to kind of touch the water, so even though you can't really see any fill in the sideboard, when I climb back out, you can just see as if, like, there's loads of water tipping out the back of the truck. And yeah, again, I'm not sure if that happens on all the trucks. That bloody signpost, it's an unkillable one. And that trailer, according to the map, is still tipped over on its side, which it's not. There's lies. For those of you that don't know what I'm on about, if you tip those trailers over, the farming trailers, sometimes if you look on the actual map, it looks like the trailers are tipped over on their side, so if you're not able to hitch to the trailer, that's why, because the game still thinks that it's tipped over, even though it's not. But yeah, I ram into that trailer every time I go past it, and the game still thinks it's sitting on its side. And then yeah, to the last section. Drop off the last piece, and we're done. Let's say ecological crisis averted or whatever. I don't really care, to be honest. Not loads on the money, but again, pretty simple, nice, relaxed mission. Why is it like a volcano can go off, and that's nature? But if I use a light bulb, I'm the arsehole. And then yeah, that's mission pretty much done. I was just driving out here, no reason in particular, just going to park this truck at the side of the road. Seen the other Paystar that I used last time I used a Paystar. I was just thinking, like, where the hell is the loaf? Like, how's it not got a loaf with him? And then I remembered. It's like, whew, thought the game might have stole a loaf off me for a second, but yeah. I used it for, I can't remember the name of the mission now, but I had to get some hay bales out of this field. There's the old, what's it called, K700. And yeah, there's a loaf that was with the Paystar. Jumped in him, quickly killed Jeepers Creepers, just to be safe. Slipped straight back into a little loaf hole. You'd never even know. Those tracks were not left by the loaf. There's shadows. There's a solar eclipse going on. It was not me. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed. I hope that helps. Thanks for watching. Thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf, because he saved my bacon multiple times yet again. And I'll be back soon.